Yo, what's up, everyone? Let's get started. Sorry I'm a little bit late. I slept in a little today. Okay. Hey, everyone. How'd you guys do on the SAT? I'm gonna start by kind of opening up my Discord and seeing what people have been saying there. I haven't been online. This is my weekend right now, so I haven't really been online in the last couple days. So let me see. Give me a sec. There. What's up, Only Water? Okay. Looks like people have been pretty active. Rez has been very active. Okay, cool. Oh, we have Frost Soft right now? Oh, wait, that's just replying to Dino. That doesn't reply to the. Only Water? Yeah, what's up? I'm good. I am. I am good. What else can I say right now? Just got accepted. Wait, who is this? I don't really understand. Will your English module affect your math module? No. Unless you mean psychologically, like I guess psychologically it could affect it, right? If you do poorly on the English, you might be stressed out, so that might bleed over into the math. But I would not expect that. I mean, but I'm sure that's not what you're asking. So no, your English module performance will not change your math module at all. That would be ridiculous, actually. Oh, just a random thing. You guys know? Do you guys know the? Do you guys know the subreddit? What's that book? Because that's kind of it's. I just sort of I kind of knew about it before, but I never really thought about it, and then I rediscovered it recently, and I think it's kind of cool. Because you can sort of like learn about books kind of passively that seem kind of interesting, and then if you want to read it, you can just read it. Um, keeps repeating the same day. The MC, the main character, is a popular girl who keeps repeating the same day over and over, but she has no idea why. So it's like a interesting way of advertising. Like people aren't really trying to advertise books; they're just trying to remember what books they read before. Um, but it's like inadvertently, it kind of advertises the book for them. So yeah, if you're into it, that's a good subreddit to follow. Uh, Pets channel. I just recently created this. I'm surprised at how not popular this is, but I'm sure it's gonna take off at some point. So I'm just gonna leave it there. Yeah, and then oh no, this is travel. Let's see. Have I been feeling better? Oh yeah, I'm definitely. I still have a little bit of scratchiness in my throat, but I'm more or less 99% fine. Like just thinking about me being sick made me cough. but like I'm not actually really sick anymore. What's up, Lex? Good to see you again. Okay, well, let's see what happened here. Loadster, good to see you again. Loadster, I forget. Oh, you just took the okay. You just took the paper SAT. Okay, cool. Feeling really good. That's good, man. Congrats. Oh, you know what I should do? I should go into Reddit, but I'll just skim through the I'll just skim through Discord first. The writing passage was worth it. Oh, reading the writing. Yeah, 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 yeah. So I'm assuming you practiced that a couple times before going in, right? Um, I guess that's probably a pretty underrated part of my advice because that's not yeah people talk about the reading a lot more than the writing online. But I do talk about reading the writing all the time. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you fit the map in. Well, what does that mean? Did you actually? This is for writing, and you were sort of keeping a map of the passage in your head while you were solving the writing, right? Uh, anyway, going back to what I was saying earlier, people talk a lot about the writing online. They don't really talk about the reading, which is natural because the reading feels a lot harder and the writing feels a lot easier. But and I guess on Reddit, people don't really ask that much about how to get from like a 350 or 35 on the writing to 400 on the writing. So, but yeah, the reading is super key, and I'm glad that helped you out. Okay, yeah, yeah, that's good to hear. You are actually recalling, and that makes you feel more engaged. That's interesting. I didn't think about that aspect of it. At least I haven't thought about that recently. But of course, if you're trying to like do this activity with if you're trying to do this activity with yourself where you're testing how much you even remember like what the overall argument is like or what the overall structure or flow is, of course you'll have to be more engaged naturally, so that makes sense. Math questions, keep keep telling people it's hard. Okay, let me do again. I remember the method. Not being the genius over here. um the SAT rent video. Wait, let me actually get through this because this is just like a quick conversation that was happening. La 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 la. Okay, so lots of math right now. Back from the SAT, 12th grade, 12th, 11th grade. Writing was hard. Okay, I'll pause here. Go back to Loadster. Um, SAT rant video. Spark the entire reading jump. Oh, this is the begging strategy video. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm glad. Yeah. Well, rest in peace, December. Rest in peace, paper SAT. This is the end of the paper SAT. The one that actually requires reading. You know. So rest in peace, reading comprehension. Rest in peace, actually learning how to be better at shit. You know what I mean? Just I don't know. I'm gonna sound like an old fogey here, but it's like I do get this feeling that we're just like lowering standards and we're just sort of we're accommodating instead of like keeping a high standard and making sure our educational system is actually living up to it. We're just lowering our standards and just sort of hoping that by keeping the scoring numbers the same, that no one really notices what's actually happening to us. But the scoring numbers, I don't know, man. It's like, yeah, obviously it's going to be graded on a curve, so we're still going to get a view of the percentile, the percentiles of like competitively. We'll understand where everyone stands in relation to each other. But damn, dude, I think it's probably not good that our reading and writing abilities are dropping. I guess you could make a really philosophical counter argument that maybe we're kind of entering an age where reading and writing become less important. That would be I think that's a pretty wild argument to make, and I don't think it's implausible. I think we might be entering an age where reading and writing. I think there's a very small, like, I would say it's a very risky argument, but maybe we enter an age where literacy is just not as important because we'll have a lot of tools to help us with our to make up for our lack of development there. Maybe just we'll be kind of like cyborgs, and AI will constantly do our reading writing, like boosting our reading writing for us, so we don't really even need to develop that skill in the first place. I mean, just as an analogous example, for example, I'm like cutting into my own words right now, but as an example, in history, when people moved to writing, it was actually considered bad for the brain. I think Socrates was like against writing because he thought that by not having to keep everything in your head and being able to articulate it with your voice, by being able to like write things down, that would actually make you dumber. And then there was and then like another example, more contemporary example would be something like, well, what if AI makes it so that everyone no longer needs to learn to drive, right? No one really needs a driver's license thanks to self-driving cars, autonomous cars. Well, is it such a tragedy that now robots are driving the cars for us, especially if they are like getting into less accidents overall? Yeah, you guess you miss out on the fun of driving, but like who cares, right? So I guess you could make the same argument there with reading and writing, but I don't know. It just feels very unnatural. It's unnatural to me that the standards are being dropped. Anyway, that's my little spiel on the end of the paper SAT with long passages. So, goodbye. Goodbye, old friend. You were good to me at my little YouTube channel. Dude. All right, let's get through this. How you feeling? Writing was hard. First passage, time consuming. Writing felt okay. -170. Writing felt easy. Okay, so overall it felt easy, so Smog is thinking it's going to be a brutal curve. This is history. This is true. Wait. There's no... yeah, I guess that's the emoji. I'm not really an emoji person. Whatever. German college paper. Okay. Just a lot of different reactions here. Nothing too generalizable here. What did I say to Smog? Oh yeah, so all the annotations and everything Naren said. Okay. Well. Uh, yeah. And I'm just gonna move on from. So there's not too much conversation here, so I'm gonna move on from here to. I'm gonna move on to Reddit. I still can't speak right now. Going back to the chat real quick. Let's see. The history. Good luck with history. Wait. Oh, end out history. I see. Not the history passage. You mean the SAT history. Yeah. Good luck, man. You guys are at the end of history. Oh wait. Ansar, are you digital or are you paper? And so when you say vocabulary questions, I can't tell which context that's in. I guess we'll start with paper here. Can't turn that off. All right. Also, I need to turn this. All right. All right. Let's see what the kids are saying. You're taking the verse. Yeah. Digital. The word. Yeah. Wording context questions. The vocab questions. Yeah. I mean, did you ask me about vocab last time in the stream? I think you might have, or somebody did at least. The main thing is, I think the thing that you should ask yourself at this point, so I'm going to stay on Ansar before I go into Reddit. I think the thing that you really should be asking yourself is, did I like logically reason through the transitions in the paragraph correctly? Like, even if I didn't know the words B or C, did I at least understand the logic, and did I have a good prediction for that blank? Because as long as you do that, then you're doing the best that anyone can ask you with your vocabulary as it is right now. If you just simply don't know B and C, right? But you know what the logic is supposed to be for the blank, then you can usually get it down to like 50-50, or sometimes you can get it down just from process elimination down to the correct answer. So make sure to hold yourself to that standard and not to just sort of like cop out by saying, well, I didn't know the word, so I just got to move on. Like, no, you can usually still figure out the logic. Superconductors and gummy materials. So we got like a little bit of engineering type passages. But gummy materials and superconductors, that must be the same passage, right? What? People that what? Oh, that the question itself is ridiculous. Okay. Oh, that's kind of funny, actually. Was this like a thing? Like, psych yourself out by wearing red? What is that? Like, what? Okay. Well, let me put that away. Math, science. Why the F are there so many science topics that take the SAT and not the ACT for a reason? That's so funny. I mean, the SAT has swung to the sciences since 2016. So I don't know. Like, the reason you should take the SAT instead. The reason you should take the SAT instead of the ACT nowadays is not because of the lack of science, because that used to be the case back in the day before 2016. I think it's because you want to do less of that sort of plodding, slow reasoning. SAT has always been a little bit on the slower sort of, you know, the clock is sort of like you can hear the brain's ticking kind of deliberative test taking, where the ACT is more like you look at it, you recognize the error, you solve it, you move on. Um, Now maybe the ACT has changed in the intervening years. I haven't really been paying attention to the changes, but that was classically the difference between the ACT and the SAT. So um, I don't know. At this point, with the paper SAT having been out for like 7 years, you really shouldn't be under this assumption that you're not going to get hard science topics. Ansar is saying that's exactly what you did. The most badass. Yeah. Yeah, good man. Good. It looks like you're applying the lessons. It seems like you're pretty confident about that one. So, yeah, good luck with that. And you were burgundy, so yeah. Yeah. Wear the color of the school that you want to get to. It might actually be kind of good advice. Like if you want to go to like Harvard is crimson, Chicago is maroon. Um, like for me, when I was in high school, I would not have ever thought about this because like getting the sweater of the college was just like inconceivable. Like I don't even know I wouldn't know how to get it, um, because we didn't have the money for like campus tours or anything like that. Like I was poor, so like I just didn't have like I was wearing free clothes mostly. Clothes that were given out at events and stuff. So I would not have even thought about this, but it could be kind of a sort of like psychological, like a framing device. Like you wear the sweater of the school that you want to get to when you do the thing that you're trying to do. So uh, yeah, I'll have to incorporate that in my future videos. Everyone's really upset about the superconductors apparently, but no one in the chat is upset about the superconductors. No one here is upset, right? Librarians at the first pass had expectations what everyone read, right? Then the evidence was she acted like a committed treason. Major Bard did it disappointed thought they'd enjoy searching for classics. I'm probably wrong that I overthink passages to oblivion. Hilarious. Okay, this is a reading question. Useless is the wrong. No, man. No. No, there are valid inferences, man. There are valid inferences that you can make. You just don't have the guardrails right now. You're just sort of like getting into your head. I mean, obviously, I didn't read this passage, so I'm only mainly just trying to follow the through line, the general emotional tenor of the thread here. Okay, so this one student's just going real ham on just trying to interpret this thing. Okay, but no, there's no consensus there. All right, going back to chat real quick. Chat says, whoa, sorry, something's happening. Yeah, and burgundy is a type of red. Yeah. The digital SAT was like running for an entire year, and still test writers are lazy. Exact same question. Rephrase the countries. What do I think? That is a little lazy. Um, honestly, what do I say, dude? It's it's frustrating. I've said some version of this before. I'm not gonna go into a super long rant. I hope I'm gonna try to resist the temptation, but like the College Board, I feel like with the digital transition, the College Board had an opportunity to do a lot of things right. The first thing that I think of when I think of like a digital version of the test, right, is I think of from just because I'm kind of a I focus more on the student's perspective first. Um, I think about the amount of information you get on what you're good at or bad at, and right there, just the College Board, the score reports, they're just so bad. Like you don't understand anything. What are you gonna do with all that? Like, what are they doing with all that data? How come they don't just share more data on how you did? You know, even if they don't want to share the questions, like you could do a lot more with that data, and so that's a little annoying. And then there's the anti-cheat prevention stuff. So the first thing is I think everyone assumed that when they transitioned to digital SAT, the amount of time it took for the scores to come out wouldn't would be shortened, like maybe even the same day, right? Uh, but it still has the what, like the 13-day like investigation period built in, so they're still investigating test centers and whatnot, and that's because the anti-cheat, they're not fully confident in it. Um, there was even that one leak, which is like insane. Um, so now I don't know if that's totally College Board's fault, but then the next part becomes more, incriminating, which is what Nguyen is talking about, which is they could just make way more questions, just like way more questions, you know, just way more questions, and then it'd be harder for people to like discuss what questions they got afterwards with their friends, right? And so that would be a lot. Like you'd be able to just sort of trust as college, where you just sort of be able to trust that you challenge the student you had in front of you. But like I don't know, on the one hand, I respect the College Board for like just making the questions. It's kind of a thankless job. No one's really going to praise you. No one's really gonna like you. No one likes the test makers. Like that doesn't happen. You know what I mean? It's a thankless job. Um, but and 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 it's hard. It's actually hard to make. It's easy to write bad questions, with errors in them, like with that can be arguable and with political biases in them that people would get upset by and stuff like that. It's really easy to make just any question. You can just have ChatGPT help you make questions. It's actually really hard to write the kind of questions that the College Board comes out with, because it has to be like has to cover a spread of difficulty ranges, and has to cover a spread of different topics. Although it has gotten easier with the digital SAT, to be fair, the digital SAT questions are easier to write than the older test. Um, but you have to cover a spread of difficulty ranges and of topics, and you need to be like you can't like be too biased towards any particular subjective standpoint on the world. So, it's hard to do all that. And you want to be as close to real science as possible, close to contemporary science as possible, stuff like that. There's all these constraints on it. It makes it hard to write those questions. Um, And also you have to have like 800 scores, being able to take the question and not be confused by some other possible interpretation that only 800 scores would, like only really high scores would ever consider, right? There's like a lot of things that you have to defend against when you're writing questions. So I respect the College Board for that, but all this other stuff, I don't know, man. It's just I don't really feel very positive about the direction of this. I mean, it's kind of cyclical because like of course the College Board has to adapt when the universities no longer are requiring test scores, right? When Harvard and all these universities are like, yeah, we're going test optional, then of course that's going to make a huge impact on how the College Board functions, because the College Board function, like they still need to make some money. They're a non-profit organization, but they need money to operate, so they still need to do some of that. And when things go test option, I'm sure when things went test option, I'm sure that took a major chunk of their operating uh, profits, I guess, operating profits, like they're a major chunk of the revenue. I mean, like, and left their operating and like expenses the same, so they probably had to figure out some way of addressing that. Also, simultaneously, College Board has probably the most international presence of any test taking organization. They have the most test centers in the world, so that takes a lot of money to operate. I'm assuming, so it's not easy, but yeah, I don't know. It just I don't know what's gonna happen. Unlike sports teams, the coach will come out and like have a press release and tell us what they're thinking and what they're gonna do. Like we don't even know what the college board is gonna do. We're just like waiting. Hopefully, it just gets better. It's kind of sucks. What's my math score? Let's see. What is my math score? I mean, at this very moment, if I took a math test, it would probably be closer to like 730. So it would be very bad. I mean, for me, it would be very bad. I would expect myself to do better. Um, uh, Maybe even worse now because I've just not even because I'm just getting older. I'm not getting any smarter right now. You know what I mean? So that would be me. Yeah, because now that I think about it, in my 20s, I would go to the test center when I was like beginning as a tutor, and I would take the math with like just having not thought about math in like 5 years. I would take the math and still get like 770, but probably like degrading to like 730 now. Yeah, 'cause, like if I don't prep, if I just go and solve a math test, it'll be pretty bad. In my high school years though, math was the easiest subject. It was so easy. Like it was automatic. It was like automatic 800 for me. It was guaranteed 800 because math was my strongest subject. There are Chinese companies. Yeah, they. I mean, they do build question databases. Oh, for cheating. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's hard to avoid that. Um, yeah, what's the solution there actually? Well, you have to have a bunch of people. You get these students. So you get these students. You get them. You send them to this test center. You get them to report back on the questions that they solved, and then like, actually, was that even that effective? I don't know. Like, I haven't heard about these. I'm sure there are these like companies building databases of questions, but is that really even effective? I mean, the questions are kind of easy. Do you even really need to do that? So, and then they're going to charge like really ridiculous amounts of money for parents to get access to it for their students. And no comment on that. I don't have a clear understanding of what would be happening with the digital SAT with the kind of cheating efforts that would probably be in effect right now. And I think these kinds of things, as a student, as whoever you are at like Fairfax or or Las Vegas or wherever the hell you live, right? Like you don't really need to think about the random cheaters abroad because the number isn't everything. The number is a very small part of your application. So just keep in mind that there's ways of verifying the validity of somebody's college application profile. Um, and it's not an exact science. Oftentimes, a lot of it is just it's a little bit subjective. But like, you know, um, if you're a student in a Chinese, if like if you if you go to a relatively unknown school and you have like a ridiculous GPA and like a ridiculous SAT, but like the school has no relationship with the university. They have never sent any other former alumni to that university. There's just gonna be a lot more scrutiny there. Because that school could have just popped up in the last 5 years. It could have just been created out of thin air, and they're just trying to pump up their numbers to send kids to like the Ivy Leagues. Like, of course, the Ivy League admissions offices will be like looking at these students and being like, "Are you guys for real though?" Like, and so they'll fly to China, right? The admissions officers fly to. I don't know about China. I know about Korea. They'll fly to Korea. They'll fly to places and like actually have chats with the counselors and do like these meetings and see like who they're actually talking to and try to establish a relationship. Like, are these people for real? Are they actually studying? Like, are they doing anything? So that all happens. So I like you wherever you are, in Arlington, in in Trenton or wherever the heck you live, like it's not really you're gonna be like the antibodies of the admissions office system aren't gonna be out for you. They're not gonna be putting you under that much scrutiny, but they will be putting more sketchy seeming sources of information. They're going to be putting that under a lot more scrutiny, and it's not perfect. There will be slip ups and stuff. People slip through the system, but you can just trust generally that this is not the kind of thing you should be worrying about personally. Okay, let me go back into Reddit. Okay, there's not too much information here. It's just a lot of I guess yeah. The impression is that writing was, I don't know. It's like who thought writing was hard? I can't tell who thought reading was hard. I guess everyone thought that one engineering passage was hard, uh, and then everyone's just asking random math questions. So there's not too much information here, other than people thought that the the engineering passage was hard. So let me move on to digital. Let's see what people are saying here. Vocabulary discussion. Is he just compiling it from the uh, thread, or I'm kind of confused. Precarious exactitude visualized. I guess this is a good question to ask. I did this in a previous test. So I guess digital SAT thread is largely about like questions that people remember and just seeing who else remembers that question. Yeah, because no one really talks about how hard a particular passage is or anything like that. Extended time. Okay, not too much information here either. I'm kind of curious where these words came from, but I can't tell. So I'll just let this beat, and then that's it for Discord and Reddit. And looks like there's not too much chat here, so I know some people here have been saying they're feeling pretty good. So I'm glad you guys did well on the SAT. Uh, the When I say did well on the SAT, what I mean is you got to separate sometimes the performance from the results. If you keep performing at a high level, you may be unlucky with some of your results on the random off, on the random off chance that you get a couple passages or couple passages, couple vocab words that really just kind of screw you. Um, but that happens. That's life, right? Sometimes you're just unlucky with things. But as long as you keep your performance levels up, that you know that you're doing the right thing at every moment, then you can go into the test, and after a couple of test examinations, you'll get your win at some point, and that's the most important thing. At this very moment, it's the evening of the SAT, or it's the afternoon after the SAT for some of you in Asia. Um, like, you can't really judge your performance yesterday based on results because your results haven't come out yet, but you can just recall your performance. Did I commit to the strategy that I have been training? Did I let myself panic and change up my strategy to do things that I've never trained ever before in my life, but I just started doing it in a rush, in a panic, out of fear that maybe I should have been doing something else for the last 6 months or whatever, right? Like, any any lapse of judgment like that, like, did you like psychologically kind of let yourself get weakened like that? If not, and if you really played, if you went by the playbook and you did everything you said you were gonna do, that you told yourself you're gonna do, then yeah, pat yourself on the back right now. You're good. Okay, you did the best that you could, and now the results are in the algorithm's hands, the curve's hands. Uh, just surrender that process over to fate and move on with your life. Focus on now the next challenge that you have ahead of you, right? Whatever that may be. It's probably given that time of year, it's probably the finals for your AP physics or like your AP history classes or whatever. But reward yourself. Eat some ice cream, uh, and go and get back to cracking at it. Thanks, Casa, for confirming. The math curve, the math curve is less brutal because the math actually does have hard questions. Unlike, I mean, the English has a couple hard questions, but doesn't have enough. Doesn't have enough hard questions to to be fine grained at the 790, 780, 770 level. Okay. I think I'm gonna make a couple announcements regarding the Discord server because there's been some major changes, and then I think I'll be out, man. Here we go. So I don't know if you guys have been tracking what's been happening at Discord, at the Discord server. I mean, but I basically totally revamped the entire server. I stayed up on like I worked on it 12 hours for like staying up all night, just kind of like getting into the zone with this. Um, so the big thing is that now there are what I call teams. These are just roles, specific roles that you get, and they're topical. They're based on the goals that you have. So there are six teams: Team SAT Prep, College Apps, High School English, Book Readers, Creative Writers, and Academic Writers. Creative Writers, I'll zoom in real quick. I kind of wrote this little thing for contest or publication, uh, for contest or college assignments, mainly because I wanted to be focused on people with an actual strong and pointed need for this. So so that's kind of the direction I'm going in. Um, I think with this setup, if any of you are moving on to college apps and then after college apps, like you're gonna move on to like college, I think with this setup we might be able to start creating a Discord server that's more like not permanent, because I don't think that we need to aim for to be permanent, but more like useful for somebody who are in the post SAT stages of their journey. Uh, like I can totally imagine just having a bunch of college admits having their own channels, and then once you get into college, I mean, presumably you'll be pretty the server will be pretty like inactive for you if you're already admitted into college. But like once you get into college, then you want to be you'll realize that reading and writing in college is going to be a lot harder. So we can create a community that's kind of continuous based on that. So that's not going to be like me making content for that. It's not going to be top priority for a while, but it is in my long term view of myself as an educator. I will be focusing on how to write for college at some point in the future. It will probably take me a couple years to actually get to that point, but I do have a writing curriculum that has been it's in my head. I mean, it's been there forever, and it's one of the things I care the most about. So so you can kind of be in that journey here with me and with other people in your year. So yeah, so that's the roles, and based on the roles, there's going to be different channels that open up to you. Like SAT Square is for Team SAT Prep, College App Court is for Team College Apps, English Village is for High School English, etc. Okay, so yeah, so that's. Oh, wait, what happened to one of my sections? Something happened to one of my sections. It's because I accidentally clicked one of these. I see. Yeah, so there's been a major change there. The other big change is that now there are XP logs. So based on your amount of activity, I'm just sort of testing this one out, but based on the amount of activity, you can kind of level up, and it helps me to keep track of who has actually been contributing and active in the past in the server without me having to specifically look up their names. And this allows me to identify who are possible seedlings or used to be seedlings. I'll figure this part out a little bit more, but right now it's kind of just like in the beta phase where I'm just sort of seeing who's been contributing to the server the most. Yeah. Okay, so that's it for Discord. Just if you're going to college apps, if you're kind of like needing more like moral support for college apps, I encourage you to join. There's some people here who are chatting. And then if high school English, that whole team, that's fairly new. So if you aren't going to go straight into college apps, but you want to find some other people who are like you, who are kind of needing some support for high school English topics. The channels, I just sort of created all these channels, so I'm actually not 100% sure how the chat will shake out. I'm happy to get take away some channels if it's too much at the beginning, and just kind of simplify it for now. But yeah, I just want to see if you guys make a first move, I'll kind of assist you in kind of building this part of the community out. So that's that. And yeah, I'm excited for, I don't know, the next year. Guys, it's I will still be streaming like every Wednesday and Saturday for now. I'm not sure if I'll be streaming during the Saturdays of like Christmas and New Year weekends. So I don't know. I could be open to it, but I feel like no one's really gonna attend those streams anyway. So, um, so I don't know. I'll think about that. I'll think about my schedule in a bit, but but I will be active in Discord. So if you just drop in, if you drop in, try to find your community here, then I'll be part of that. So let me know. Let me just get back to the chat real quick. Nara, no problem. Favorite book of all time? Interesting. I used to have some pretty straight up clear answers for that. I mean, so it's funny. It sounds so pretentious, but one of the ones that I'm thinking of is, um, it's one of the ones that really changed my view on like life, and not just like life really, on like the world and language, which is Wittgenstein's Philosophical Investigations. But it was not just the book; it was the course that I took with the book at school. So that's part of it. Um, I mean, I still love the Iliad to death. The Iliad, like Homer's Iliad. Um, I haven't reread it in a while though. It's been a while. Um, I kind of like these ancient ones, and and this is not a book, but just a poet. I love Kenneth Koch. In fact, I have him out here. I I brought him. I brought him to Japan because I kind of missed him. Hadn't been reading him for a while. Let's see. Favorite. If I have a single favorite book, do I have a single favorite book? I don't know. I don't think I do. Yeah, it's. I don't know. Do you guys have a single favorite book? That's. I feel like I used to have an answer to that, right? But now I don't. Interesting. Yeah. So I'll just. Yeah. Those are some that come to mind. Kenneth Koch's just General Uve, and then we have the Iliad and Philosophical Investigations. It's kind of a motley crew. Okay. Uh, have I considered doing AP Lang stuff? Yes. AP Lang is probably after the digital SAT transition, like after I sort of kind of build out my curriculum for digital SAT, I'll probably go into AP Lang next because AP Lang, thank God, hasn't gotten much easier. So it allows me to focus on real reading, real writing, real-ish writing. AP Lang writing is still kind of not real writing, but but I do think that AP Lang. I mean, I still every once in a while. I don't do AP Lang students right off the bat. If you were a SAT student first, then I don't mind doing a couple extra like tutoring sessions for you for AP Lang, like as an add-on. If you're an SAT student first, I don't mind doing a couple extra sessions for you for college apps. As long as you already know the kind of coach that I am. But like the SAT for me with my tutoring, I still do non-SAT subjects, even though I require SAT to be the first subject you take with me because it's the one where I can kind of establish all of our habits and our systems. So so I still touch on AP Lang every once in a while. I still touch on college apps and every once in a while. But AP Lang and college apps are probably the way towards getting towards real reading and real writing. as the immediate next step after the SAT, and then after that you get into like, oh, and then for the really gifted kids, I guess there's like the actual research papers that you could write, or the like the contest writing that you could do. Uh, that does feel like the next step after that. But that one more or less blends together with college reading and writing, because that gets pretty like the skills you need are just going to be much more like much more advanced for those kinds of things. So I want to build all that. I'm just one person is the problem, and I kind of wish I had like I kind of wish I found somebody who's kind of like kind of vibes with me. I want somebody who vibes with me, who thinks the same way as I do, who sees the education game long term, who's not just here for. There's a lot of people in the industry that are sort of like, I don't know. They're just business people. They're not really they don't really care that much about the educational aspects of things. So I want to find somebody I vibe with. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. But until I find like an actual partner that can build stuff out together with me, I'll just be doing building these curriculums out or curricula out one by one. It'll take a while. It'll take a while. So, but yes, long term, all that stuff is in the works. Ellie or Effie, Effie, good job. Congrats on finishing your first SAT. And no matter what the results are, I hope you can be proud of the performance you put in today. Okay, so that's it for me now. I made my announcement on Discord about Discord. I'll just restate it one more time. Hey, the Discord has been totally renewed. There's like all these roles, and it's more specific so that even if you're not really specifically studying for the SAT anymore, there are other ways of engaging with the community. And I would say my Discord community, because I don't like spam myself on the internet with like TikTok and whatever. Like I tend to get kids who are like the people who tend to find me are kids who are generally motivated and intelligent, not like the sort of low effort hangers-ons. So I feel like we have good potential to make good friends, good people, meet good people through the Discord server. I encourage you to join, make some friends, and find some support for whatever your academic aims may be. And besides Discord, I'll be streaming again probably next Wednesday. So I'll see you then. All right, guys, I'm going to go. I think there's cleaning happening right now. So I don't know if you can hear the background noise, but I got a piece. Guys, until next time, keep on learning, keep on growing, and see you in the next one.